What is arguably the biggest Al Heyman PBC nutsack hugger in the boxing cosmos, Edogz left this comment under the last video I did about Gervonta Davis, the Tevin Farmer fight. He had this to say. He said, on Davis supporters / defenders, just imagine someone saying that Crawford fighting number 14 Benavidez isn't a pound-for-pound fight after Crawford was hand-walked into the WBO title. And you'll be the first to jump up and defend Crawford's cherry-picking, Spence-ducking ass. And
Ducking Spence.
What I find most bizarre about this sycophant is how big of a fucking hypocrite he is. He's alleging that Crawford is somehow ducking Spence, even though Errol Spence is the one citing network issues as a reason for them not to fight.
Me and Terrence Crawford on this side of the streets. He's just signed with ESPN. I don't fight for ESPN. I fight for Showtime or Fox.
Errol, question here for you. How much of a problem to you is Spence? You would like to be the undisputed champion, the guy who can walk in anywhere you want, they'll say, that's the guy. The same like what Floyd Mayweather was, like Sugar Ray Leonard was.
I'm A-side.
But you want to
I'm A-side. Like I said, Terry Crawford come across the street. Terry Crawford come across the street. He got to leave ESPN to come to Showtime or Fox.
Even though this is the same Errol Spence who was proposing that he'd fight Canelo Alvarez.
You know, a year from now. This fight I'll take right now, if given the opportunity, I'm more to 54. You know, I come down from the high 60s too, so I mean, it doesn't matter, you know, so that's a fight I look forward to.
How do you think you match up with Canelo?
I think it'll be a great fight. I have way more energy fighting at 154.
Remember that?
Who fights on another network. So network issues aren't a problem when it's Canelo Alvarez, but they are an issue when it's Terrence Crawford, who's right there in your division.
Right there.
The same guy who you told to get a belt before he goes barking up your tree.
You know, to answer your question, Terrence Crawford he don't have a belt yet, but if he does get the belt from Jeff Horn, you know, I'm coming to take that belt too, because I want to be undisputed welterweight champion.
He got it.
And never mind the fact that this is probably one of the most forgiving guys of Gervonta Davis. This is one of Gervonta Davis's
biggest apologists,
most adamant defenders. He had no problem with the Fonseca fight. You know, he had no problem with Davis not fighting Vasyl Lomachenko.
No issues.
He had no problem with him fighting Fonseca instead.
No issues.
And he had no problem with Gervonta Davis fighting Cuellar for a belt that neither one of them really earned. In fact, he actually tried to defend this shit.
Why would he defend that?
The day after the fight, I made a video
About Gervonta.
how Alberto Machado is the rightful heir to that title because he actually beat Jezreel Corrales, who was holding that title. We know that there were some circumstances that Jezreel didn't make weight, so the title was vacant. Thus, the only one who could have won the title on that night was Alberto Machado. But guess what? He did win the fight, so that title should have went to him. Yet somehow the powers that be negotiated a situation where Gervonta Davis gets to fight a 126-pounder who hasn't done shit at 130. He gets to fight this guy for the WBA super title. And this motherfucker Edogz don't have no problem with that. He's got a problem with everything that every top-ranked fighter does, and he's got a problem with everything that every matchroom fighter does. He has a problem with everyone and everything not associated with Al Heyman. He has a problem with every fighter that's not an Al Heyman fighter. But when it comes to Heyman fighters, it's okay for Gervonta Davis to become a champion under these circumstances. He has no complaints, no critiques, no criticism, no witty banter, because this guy is an Al Heyman sycophant. He's a dick rider. He's a PBC shill. And like I always say, it's okay if you want to be a fucking dick rider. I just don't know why you coming over here dick riding. This is not a dick riding channel. I I'm not a member of the I Lick Ass for a Press Pass news network. I'm not a member of that committee. We all know what committee I'm talking about. I am not affiliated or associated with that committee. So if you're expecting me to pander to you because you're an Al Heyman dick rider, you're in the wrong place, and I don't know why you keep coming here. A lot of times I wonder, why does this guy keep coming to this channel knowing that I'm gonna pick every argument that he makes apart because he's full of shit? He trying to sit here and tell me that Crawford is ducking Spence? How exactly is he ducking him? What did he do to circumvent Errol Spence? What did he say that in some way, shape, or form entails circumventing Errol Spence?
There's so much conversation about you and Errol Spence. People obviously want to see that fight. I would expect that fight to be as popular as this one. What are your thoughts on Errol Spence and what he's done at 47 and his matchup against you?
He's a good fighter, but he's not indestructible.
He has went to you and Terrence Crawford. Yeah. A lot of people say, oh, when Earl speak, he don't really say Terrence Crawford name. Can you speak on that?
With me, basically, let me clean up my side of the street. Basically, I'm saying my side of the street, Al Heyman and Showtime. Let me clean up my side of the street, and I'll come over here and take up that side of the block, too. So that's what I'm doing.
We know that Errol Spence is the one who's saying that, oh, I'm on this side of the street, I'm over here, and you've got to leave your network and come over here to Showtime. We know that Errol Spence is the one that's citing reasons not to fight. He's the one that's doing that.
In terms of the welterweight division, it's really stacked with a lot of solid guys. There's a lot of opportunities and options for Terrence. We saw with the Linares fight, Linares was able to come over from HBO and fight on ESPN. So I would think that wouldn't be a problem in terms of getting fights for Crawford against the likes of Spence or Thurman or Porter, correct?
Well, that's right. I mean, I have no hesitation contacting Al.
I'm not going to ESPN.
He just confirmed he didn't want
I'm not going to ESPN at all. Because the big money fights and the fights that is really going to get made, the fights I'm really going to make is in Showtime and Fox Sports. And Fox. Flat out. That's the fights I'm gonna make.
It's not Crawford saying Spence has to come to my network, otherwise we're not gonna fight. He didn't say anything remotely similar to that. He didn't say anything like that. But Spence did. He did this weekend. And when this dick-riding motherfucker over here sees me talking about it, he wants to muddy up the truth. He wants to make the lines hazy and gray as if it's both guys saying this kind of shit, when it's not. It's Errol Spence that cited network issues while he was drunk out of his mind. Up on the podium, frustrated that people keep asking him about Terrence Crawford, just as frustrated as Keith Thurman was when they were asking him about Errol. He's showing his cards. And the reason that a dick rider like Edogz would continuously come here and try to make these ridiculous points is because he knows I'm telling the truth, but he doesn't want me to tell the truth. He wants to suppress the truth because he's an Al Heyman dick rider. He takes issue with just about every fighter under the sun that's not an Al Heyman fighter. But he can sit there and watch Gervonta Davis basically be handed a title against
the worst,
probably what is the worst opponent they could match him against. The guy who ain't done Bo Diddley in about close to 2 years and hadn't done Bo fucking Diddley at 130 pounds. He could watch that whole shit unfold and he takes no issue with it. None. But he's got a problem with Terrence Crawford fighting Jeff Horn?
The fuck?
He's got a problem with Terrence Crawford calling out Errol Spence to unify? You really got a problem with that? What, you don't want to see them fight? What are you afraid of? That Crawford's gonna beat him? See, this is the kind of weirdo that he actually doesn't want to see the good fights. He really doesn't want to see the best versus the best. What he wants to do is spread propaganda. For one reason or another, he's swinging off Al Heyman's dick. Now, I don't know if this guy's on the payroll, but he acts like he's on the payroll. Because all he really does when he comes here is try to spread propaganda. And rest assured, this is still an unbiased channel. I have no complaints about Al or the PBC. I don't have a problem with the PBC, but I do have a problem with these kinds of dick riders. You don't belong on this channel, in case you haven't gotten the message yet. You do not belong here. Every time you come here and say some stupid shit, I'm gonna embarrass you. I'm gonna pick your bullshit arguments apart and send you on your way. And when you come back with a new one, I'll send you back on your way with new wounds to lick.
And now we will conduct a lesson in IQ. You see, many of these sycophants have prevailing traits that they all possess regardless of which side of the spectrum they choose to shill for. The trait of a hypocrite is indicative of a shill, but how does one spot a hypocrite? There are hypocrites among us boxing fans, the tried and true, honorable and dedicated to the sport. There are those among us hiding, infecting our minds, attempting to alter our perspective of events to cater to their narrative.
You see, there's no sense in being overly critical of one fighter for doing the exact same thing or pretty much the same thing as another fighter. Yet these guys like to pick and choose what they're outraged about. These guys like to pick and choose when they want to be critical. And this is based on their own tribalism, their own racism, and their own dick riding. Because you got a lot of Heyman guys. You got a lot of guys that love Al Heyman, that these guys sound like they're part of a fucking cult. And these guys ain't say Bo fucking diddly about Gervonta Davis being afforded a title shot that he really didn't deserve. He didn't deserve to fight for the WBA title. If you wanted it that bad, you would have either challenged Jezreel Corrales and tried to unify with him, or you would have challenged Alberto Machado for the title that he just beat Corrales for. But rather than doing that, they gave him his pick of the litter, a very underqualified opponent, and called that a title fight. Now, as I stated earlier, I highlighted this, I made light of this, that Gervonta Davis is fighting an underqualified opponent.
Very underqualified.
And if you've been on this channel long enough, you'll know that
I call it down the middle.
I'm calling it down the middle. I don't attempt to explain away Gervonta Davis's actions any more than I attempted to explain Triple G's actions when he chose to fight Vanez Martirosyan instead of Sergey Didivianchenko. Because had he chosen to fight Sergey, well, he'd still be holding his IBF title. We all know the story. We don't need to get into the hairy details. I didn't defend Triple G fighting Vanez Martirosyan.
Nope.
That was a terrible pick. In the same way that I wouldn't defend Gervonta Davis fighting Jesus Cuellar.
Nope.
Why would I? In both of those instances, there was a wide array of better qualified opponents to choose from. And in both of those instances, my demeanor did not change. Triple G didn't need to fight Vanez any more than Gervonta Davis needed to fight Jesus Cuellar, let alone for a world title. There were better people out there to fight. Now, to a guy like Edogz, who is quite obviously a shill, he'll try to use that
as an argument,
as the foundation for an argument. He will try to insinuate that, well, if that's the case, then why aren't you complaining about Terrence Crawford fighting Jose Benavidez? But let's ask ourselves a question. Is Jose Benavidez inactive like Jesus Cuellar was?
No.
Is he inactive like Vanez Martirosyan was?
No.
You know, Vanez hadn't done anything in, 2 years or something like that before he fought Triple G? And the same applies to Jesus Cuellar. That guy's last fight before he fought Gervonta Davis was in 2016, and that fight was a loss to Abner Mares. Is Jose Benavidez, is he coming off a loss, and is he coming off of 2 years or close to 2 years of inactivity? No, he's not. So why would you even compare those situations when they're so obviously different?
Why'd you do that?
Oh, I'll admit that there are better people out there that I would like to see Terrence Crawford fight. There are better people out there. I would like to see him fight
Errol Spence.
I would like to see him fight Keith Thurman.
Among others.
I would like to see him fight Sean Porter. I would like to see him fight the top welterweights that are out there. Of course I would. But the guys on that side of the fence, they're not really making it easy for him to fight.
Are they?
At least not to fight with them. So he's got to fight who he can fight. And in those circumstances, Jose Benavidez, an undefeated fighter,
his weight class,
is an ideal candidate.
The power of knowledge will see us through these dark times. We must fight these hypocrites, these sycophants. We must fight them on the beaches, fight them in the forests, on the deserts, and in the mountains. We must dispel and destroy their particular brand of bullshit. For the glory of boxing, we are the unbiased fight fans, and we do not subscribe to your particular brand of bullshit. We will not be led astray by your divisiveness and your lies, your self-serving agenda. We will not be swayed by you, demon. This is Ring IQ.